Hey everyone, how's it going? Sit and short season versus part 21. And today we're looking at 1 Peter 4 verses 7 and 17. And you'll be pleased to know there's only another 2 parts to go. Finally got through them all. Took a while. So let's have a look at Peter 4 7. So Peter 4 7. But just quickly, obviously, we've not been given context again. We've just had 2 verses pulled out in order to push a belief. The things that I spoke about in this Peter 4, it's talking about how Christians should behave in end times. The end times considered, after Christ's ascension till whenever Christ returns. So, like I spoke before, you get wordage that the end is near, the end's coming quickly, because no one knows when Christ's returning. So only a fool is going to use language that suggests Christ is going to be a long time returning, because then the believer becomes complacent. So so we've got talking about how to live in end times, taking on the mind of Christ, rejoicing in suffering like Christ did, and how to behave with one another, that kind of thing. So, 1 Peter 4 7. But of all things, the end has drawn near. But be sound minded, therefore, and be sober in the prayers. So, like I said, we've got this wordage, the end has drawn near, which don't get any context of Christ returning. It just says the end has drawn near, because, like I said, no one knows when Christ's returning, so you don't preach. Instead of saying the end has drawn near, you'd say the end is far away, or we don't know when the end is. You know what I mean? And these are all things that you have to be careful with. Like, you preach Christ is coming imminently, because you've got to be right. If you think you've got time and then you haven't got time, well, you didn't bother. But of all things, the end of the journey, be sound-minded, therefore, and be sober in the prayers. So, be sound-minded, be sober. It's like self-control. Have a clear mind. Focus on spiritual things. Pray with clarity. So again, like I said, it's a really, really big stretch to suggest that this is any evidence that Christ returned in 70 AD and we're in Satan's little season. So let's move on to verse 17. See, look at all context we're missing. We've gone from 7 and we're skipping 10 passages and going all the way down to 17. It's mental. Because the time will come to begin the judgment from the house of God, and if first from us, what will the end of those disobeying of the God gospel? So, because the time will come, the time of judgment will come. As I said, we don't know when that is. It's beneficial to preach that it's near, it's close. Otherwise, you throw a believer then into thinking that he's got time that he might not have. Because the time will come to begin the judgment from the house of the God, and if the first from us, what will be the end of those disobeying of the God gospel? So judgment starts with the believer, and what it's basically saying is, if judgment starts with those who believe in gospel, then what comes of those that deny the gospel? So again, because we've lost context, we've cherry picked it, we've took it for a sole reason as to try and prove a belief. Again, there's just no Satan's short season proof in these verses. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the next one.